isn't it a nice feeling to wake up and look out your window and see the sun rising on a brand new day?
Yeah.
Here in the beautiful country of New Zealand.
It is nice.
I feel like the episode is rife with potential. Who knows what could happen on this glorious day?
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful day. I'm Jasha.
I'm Micah.
And we are co-hosts of the podcast Podzilla. This is our final proper episode for season 5. You're right, it's a lovely day outside, Micah.
It's a lovely day. You know what? Always sunrise on Podzilla. That's what I say.
Always sunrise on Podzilla. Well, this episode we're talking about always sunset on 3rd Street.
I only realized after watching the first movie that it's probably more pronounced as always sunset on 3rd Street.
You think so?
Because the proper book series it's based off is Sunset on 3rd Street.
Yeah. So is this just called Always?
Always. Sunset on 3rd Street.
Does that make sense?
There's a hidden colon there. I'm convinced.
Always. I mean, it's not the most creative name for a trilogy in the world.
What are you calling it? The Sunset Trilogy?
Always, yeah. Like Linkletter's before trilogy, this is the Always trilogy.
the
Always sunset?
Always, yeah.
Before sunrise.
Before sunset.
It's very before trilogy coded. We'll get into it. It's very much one and the same. Mike, Always sunset on 3rd Street is something we have talked about since the inception of Podzilla. It's something I've always known about. It's always been in the back of my mind that this is one of Godzilla's appearances outside of his mainstream movies.
One of the appearances of all time.
It is. He appears. We'll get
into it. What did you say from the inception of Podzilla?
From the conception of Podzilla, from the conception of Micah Drake and the conception of Jasha Drake, always niggling back there has been the fact that Godzilla appears in Always Sunset on 3rd Street 2. And I never knew what Always Sunset on this is the title, Always. I never knew what the Always trilogy was like. I never knew what to expect, but I knew that Godzilla was in the second one. So I knew we'd cover it one day. And I mean, me and you were talking. We've been going back this last month and a bit to cover off Godzilla things. We never got around to finishing Chibi Godzilla, Monarch. And it finally just made sense to as we here at sunrise as we're recording, but as we get ready to sunset season 5,
yep,
to finally check out this trilogy. And in classic Jasha and Micah fashion, we didn't do them one movie at a time. We watched 3 2.5 hour long movies.
Yeah, I think because these movies are directed by Takashi Yamazaki,
the goat
god.
Oh, yeah,
director of Godzilla -1. And way back in this little trilogy that he directed mid-2000s to 2010s. That sounds weird, mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Mid-noughties?
First one came, the mid-noughties, 2005, 2007, and the latest one was 2012, a little bit later.
I feel like we knew that there was a little 3 to 5 minute Godzilla segment that I had watched before. I remember after -1 came out. It's a little YouTube clip that you can look up and watch.
3 to 5 minutes? 10 seconds? 5 seconds?
It's longer than the series of events.
I mean, the Godzilla references, they run deep through the trilogy. We get the she pose.
Oh, yeah.
Makes its second appearance on the podcast, which is exciting. I can't wait to talk about the she pose. But yeah, it was really nice to check out this trilogy of movies we've always heard about. Has a Godzilla connection.
Always heard about.
That we'd always heard about, with a Godzilla connection, directed by Takashi Yamazaki, reminds me a lot and carries the same kind of spirit almost that Godzilla -1 has.
Yeah, there's a lot of connective tissue there.
So I was really excited to check this out, especially as we've got -0 coming out soon.
-2,
-0.
-0. Man, if they make a third movie, they're screwed.
Surely it'll just be Godzilla.
+1.
Surely it'll just be Yeah. Godzilla +1, +1. We'll see it one day. But anyway, Micah, I mean, final proper episode of the season. How have you been? Are you ready? Are you ready to say goodbye?
Final episode.
to say sayonara
to
the sunset.
I'm doing all right. Last recording,
yeah,
I was down in the dumps. I've been sick with the flu on my entire holiday. We're back. I'm back at work and I'm feeling joyous.
That's good.
I feel like truly last week I could feel the sun rising. I've been in such a burned out, overworked stage of my life, but the fog's lifted.
You were able to sunset all of that.
I could sunset all of that, and as the smog from the industrial period of Showa Japan
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
had set across my life, I've finally been able to wake up and see the glimmer of light.
And hopefully that'll be what it's like always.
Always, yeah.
Always.
Maybe I'll get that feeling at least twice more in the future. No, I've been good though. Nothing too crazy going on with me. I've just been resting a lot. We talked about it, but I've finished up a big show at the moment, and I'm just enjoying resting.
Ready for the rest of the year.
I'm ready for the rest of the year. I was in such a state that I wasn't reading, and I've gotten back into reading.
Wow.
This is truly a momentous occasion.
Truly a sunrise.
I'm like, yeah, I've gone back into reading and games. I've started one book and started one game. Jasha's out here finishing his 60th Stephen King novel.
No, I've only finished, I think, 7?
And watched the 28 tie-in movies.
I am really getting through the Stephen King movie and TV adaptations, though. I've been going hard on them. I still have a couple of Children of the Corn movies left to watch. They've been just lingering back there.
How many are there?
11.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think 11 when you count the remakes. And only one of them have really been good. So I've been intentionally kind of leaving them until I've got nothing better to do. But that's been fun. I've been loving Stephen King. I read The Dead Zone. I was telling you a little bit about it the other day.
Epic.
About a dude who can touch people, and then he gets visions of their future or something that's happening to them. Really, really cool. The plot turns into he touches a politician's hand, gives him a handshake, and then finds out if that politician gets elected, the world's essentially going to end. So with no one believing him, with nothing to do, he was like, man, maybe I have to assassinate a politician. It's a pretty cool idea.
We've all been there of touching a politician and feeling like the world's going to end if they get in.
The world's going to end if they get elected. Really cool. Love Dead Zone. I finished Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen.
Yeah, this has been your huge like Elden Ring level journey for you.
I started playing this. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've talked about it on the pod before, but loved Dragon's Dogma growing up. Never finished it. Always found it way too hard, and then picked it back up over the Christmas break last year, and fell in love with it again, and made a promise to myself, I'm gonna beat it this time. And since Christmas and now, I finished it on normal mode. I finished New Game Plus. I finished hard mode. I finished speedrun mode. I know the game in and out, and I love it. It might just be my favorite game ever.
It's cool when you get to a point where you can play a game like 5 times over and it still feels good.
And I'm actually pretty good at it, which is surprising.
You should start streaming it and getting into like Dragon's Dogma speedruns.
It's just the only game I ever play. So many games nowadays I pick up or I play something online with my friends, and I just can feel I'm not good at it. Any like FPS?
Yeah, we
shooters.
That's it. We've got very different like gaming tastes in terms of what we like. There's sometimes a bit of crossover. We both love our Remedy games.
Yeah,
but for the most part, I usually love my puzzle games. I'm a bit better at first-person shooters. Anytime we get together and play a fighting game, you absolutely splash me out of the water.
Yeah, I love fighting games. I've always, ever since our dad built an arcade machine and we grew up playing them, loved my Street Fighters, fell in love with Mortal Kombat recently. But you were never a fighting game, dude. You played a little bit of Smash?
I played some Smash is the closest. I picked up the most recent one like several years after it came out, and it had the DLC release for it. And I don't know anybody else who plays Smash in real life, Jasha. If I did, I would have risen through the ranks. Now, my big gaming news is I've just been eyeing up every single day new news about the Steam machine coming out.
Every day you're saying, hey, Jasha, the Steam machine is dropping anytime. There's Steam machine news. It's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to buy it.
Every single day there are news reports saying like new data leaked.
It's months away.
The price point for the Steam machine.
Mike are refreshing his phone every second to see Steam machine news. There's none there.
I feel like I've been putting off so many great games. The new Monster Hunter, Elden Ring I haven't played. I'm waiting for the Steam machine so I can play them all.
I think you're waiting in vain. I think it'll be 6 months at least until the Steam machine comes out.
And then I'll play Dragon's Dogma.
There's probably issues with the Steam machine. If they're releasing the controller without there even being a release date for the Steam machine itself.
No, they're going to be bundled together.
There's some sort of issues in the back end, some hardware. They're rushing.
They've been very outspoken about the fact that it's getting to the point now, several decades after consoles have been in the general populace, that like every single part is selling out and they're having trouble getting the materials to make like, I don't know, the RAM chips, the chipsets, the motherboards.
Yeah, okay.
All of those
graphics cards,
yeah.
Will it have a graphics card in it? Do consoles have graphics cards?
Who knows? Not me. But like there are so many consoles and PCs coming out at really high price points with a lot of real butty.
That's the thing as well. Is this Steam machine is going to be $3,000?
And you know what? I'd gladly slam my debit card down on the table to pay for it.
Your 5th credit card?
What?
You've already maxed out one from jackets. You've maxed out the other from Final Fantasy Magic cards. Might just
I'll have you know. I have a debit card. I don't have a credit card. I'm very good with my money.
Okay. The Discord says otherwise. You'll be put on blast for your jacket purchases.
Jacket. I bought that jacket on sale.
I asked you to show the transactions from your bank account app. You never showed them.
That's because I bought a lot else in that order.
Oh, the truth comes out.
But that jacket was less than 200 New Zealand dollars. That's like 130 US.
What's the full order price?
It was a lot.
There we go.
Not a lot that day.
4th credit card, maybe. We have been gaming together.
Have we?
Micah. Earth Defense Force 6.
Dude, wait.
Ever heard about it?
I completely forgot about this. I had heard about this great game, Earth Defense Force, this long-running series from my fave podcast, Into the Aether. Shout out to my boys. But this is a long-running series where the 6th installment was released several years ago. And it was pitched to me as literally just Starship Troopers, but multiplayer. And I'd played a little bit of it, but I introduced Jasha to it. And never in my life have I had as much joy picturing myself in like a Godzilla-esque movie just as a soldier running on the ground, shooting down aliens.
It is less Starship Troopers and more kaiju. Like it's a Godzilla movie.
It feels like it.
We are just somewhere. It's a Japanese game, and we've got like mech suits sometimes, but all just crazy abilities at other times. And there are huge kaiju-sized aliens dropping onto Earth, big spiders, giant frogmen, android frogmen,
a lot of ants,
ships, aliens, just crazy things dropping down. Again, all kaiju-sized that we as just little people having to fire at and bring down.
There's like around 160 levels, and it gets to the point where you're just starting off shooting waves of ants. Then you fight a kaiju, and just when you think it's about to get really stale,
it's a Godzilla monster.
It's a Godzilla monster. I think the last one we played was us with snipers on the ground having to take out like 50 UFOs one by one.
Yeah, it didn't really work well for me.
But I was having the time of my life.
It was a very fun game, and it's definitely what I would imagine the perfect Godzilla game as being. Not monster versus monster, but you down on the ground having to bring down these kaiju. Like imagine if it was just Kumangas and Kamakuras coming at you.
Yeah, there was that one Godzilla game. I forget what it's called, but it's like the fog across Tokyo, whatever its name is, that is now unavailable. Ultraman, Godzilla, them all showed up in.
What's probably similar to this?
It's probably similar to this, maybe a little bit more combat focused, but I remember watching through the Godzilla anime trilogy, and this feels like you're one of the soldiers in that. You can have your huge mech suit. I'm just a soldier. You're an air assault dude.
Yeah, I'm not actually shooting guns. I'm shooting like tracking markers that other people then shoot.
You've got like bunches of robots and droids that follow you around. You can call an airstrike.
A lot of drones, helicopters, jet, bombers. Very cool game. I've been enjoying it. I might need to grab it for myself because it's like 4-player online, right?
Yo, Podzilla Earth Defense Force?
Podzilla?
That would actually be insane.
Can you imagine? It would be pretty sick. It's an expensive game. I will grab it when it's on sale, I think.
And that's the thing. If you play it again, all your account stuff is saved on my account.
True.
You need to rise up through the ranks once more.
I could do it.
I will say it's the perfect podcast audiobook game because you can. I need to do that more. It's just let myself loose to the whims of Earth Defense Force.
Perfect game to maybe let my Children of the Corn movies play out on one screen while I'm Earth Defense Forcing on the other. Maybe.
Are you one of these? Don't tell me you're watching every Stephen King movie with like a Subway Surfer.
No,
screen playing in the corner.
No, I never really do that. But there's the occasional.
He never really does it.
Trashy movie that like a podcast I love listening to. There's a podcast called Bad and Spider, and they just watch old trashy horror movies. I try to keep up with them, but sometimes they're just bad. So I admit, hey, I'll admit it. Sometimes it's on a second screen while I'm playing Dragon's Dogma.
Whoa.
It's happened once or twice.
This is the truth. This is how you get through so many movies.
It's happened only once or twice.
I love how it's socially acceptable nowadays to be on your phone during a movie.
You can be on
but
your
not
phone.
Actually. Not with a whole computer set up.
I don't bring up my phone whenever I watch a movie. Phone's away. I've been locked in on these Children of the Corn movies. I went around to our parents' place the other day. My wife was playing Minecraft with our mum on the couch, and I was just watching Children of the Corn 7 on the TV, locked in.
With your own little phone with Minecraft on.
No. I'm committed. Special shout out to our Odo Island patrons for supporting us pretty much all the way through this season. Connor, Frogurt, Nerkles, Michael, Rich, Jacob, Sean, Ron, Matt, Emma, JB Mason, and Nolan. Thank you guys so much. Again, if you'd like to support the show, we are wrapping up, and we'll have a bit more news in the weeks to come of what that's going to look like.
This isn't the last episode of the season, technically.
No, and it's not the last episode of Podzilla. Can I say that?
Keep
Will you
your
allow me to
silence
say that?
You know what? This is not the last episode of Podzilla because there are a couple more in the season.
But yeah, we'll have some news on what's happening to the Patreon in the next couple of weeks. But if you do want to sign up, get access to bonus episodes, extended episodes.
It's still worth doing it. We're not going to
still worth
let you
doing.
loose.
And a couple more bonus episodes to come. You will have some more influence if you sign up as well. So patreon.com/Podzilla.
We will still have a couple episodes after this that we can talk about near the end. One's going to be our big monster mashup brawl that we've been slowly putting together over the past season.
Yeah, that will be an exclusive to patrons episode that'll come out next week.
Oh, sooner than I thought.
Next week.
There is also a season wrap-up. So,
yeah,
guys, get your questions ready now. Because that's just going to be a big sit-down chat with us about the entirety of Podzilla, since Podzilla is sunsetting, at least this season.
The sunset, always sunset of Podzilla. Yeah.
What did you say in the Discord? It was like
the end of Podzilla.
Evangelion Podzilla.
Like the end of Evangelion, but the end of Podzilla. Yeah, there's a lot of people wondering about what's happening to the show. So send in your questions, send in your thoughts, your reflections on the season, any of the movies you liked, any of the movies you'd like us to cover, anything at all.
Anything you think we could have done better.
Give us any feedback, positive
for
and
our next
negative.
podcast after we stop this one.
Ask us to do as many impressions as you like, as many improv songs, because we had some really good ones this season. I remember the Rago improv song, Micah. That was great.
How did the Rago one go?
I don't know.
Every day, the catalogue of Podzilla episodes that I've forgotten about grows ever longer.
But yeah, we will have just a big old mailbag, ask us anything episode. So start sending in your questions or voicemails. We'd love to hear from you.
Love to hear from you. Doesn't have to be about Podzilla. Doesn't have to be about
anything.
Monster movies.
Ask Mike about his personal life.
Ask me about what I have for breakfast.
Ask about his dating life. There's a lot going on in that space. So send some questions.
I'm going on no dates. But I am looking at my watch every morning at 8 o'clock, waiting out on the street, hoping for my little crush to pass me by just so they can say a little hey. So we lock eyes for a second, then they rush off. No one here is going to have watched the third Always Sunset movie, so no one's going to get that.
You're skirting the question and making it about Sunset on 3rd Street. But yes,
we'll save it for the mailbag episode.
We'll save it for the mailbag episode.
Mike's dating advice.
Yeah, please ask for that because I can't wait to hear what he says. But I mean, shall we get into it, Mike? We've got three
movies to cover.
2.5 hour long movies to cover.
We've had at least 7 hours of sunsets.
Oh, man. It has been always sunset for us the last couple of days. Yeah. I mean, did you know much more than I did about this going in?
No, I thought the entire thing was based on one family. I don't know if it was modern, but it's all set during the Showa era, the actual Showa era. But it is initially based off of a manga series called Sunset on 3rd Street, which is just a full anthology series going about the lives of inhabitants of a town. It sounds like over the course of the issues, they stay the same age, they grow up. It says that they get younger as needed, so it might be doing some flashbacks. but these movies seem to bring them cohesively together into more of a story that we can follow along. But it doesn't seem like it's like that in the series. It's very much just one-off little manga issues about inhabitants doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like it gets much more into fantasy and much more into sci-fi at times than the movie does.
That's crazy.
So funnily enough, the movie's actually the more grounded piece of media.
Yeah, because I only really found out, I think, the last couple of weeks that this was based on a manga. It didn't click until I was watching it that the main actor who plays a writer Chigawa in this, I think the actor's name is Hidetaki Yoshioka.
That's good. Nice.
He is Dr. Noda, the one and only Dr. Noda from Godzilla -1. We all know him.
You'll know him on account of his unruly hair in that movie. And boy, you haven't seen anything.
But I mean, here's the standout of Godzilla -1. Even when we first watched it, the doctor with the slicked back, like silvery gray hair that everyone remembers, everyone loved the vibe of. And I didn't even click that it's the same guy in this, and that he actually works with Takashi Yamazaki quite a bit. So that was a cool surprise.
Yeah, especially seeing him in less of a serious role. He is like one of the 3 characters in these movies that feels just like they're in a different genre entirely.
Because would you say the Always Sunset on 3rd Street trilogy comedies?
I'd say
Probably comedies?
I'd say there's a little bit of comedy there, but I'd just say it's mostly a drama.
Whoa. Really?
Mm.
You took some of this seriously.
I took all of it seriously.
Well, I wrote a little synopsis for the whole thing.
Yeah, please.
Shall we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Throughout 1950s and 1960s Tokyo, we follow the residents of 3rd Street, lower class denizens just trying to make ends meet. We meet the Suzuki family, the father, President Suzuki, mother Tomo, and son Ippei, as they welcome in a new mechanic, Matsuko. Matsuko is shocked that Suzuki Auto isn't the big automobile factory that she thought she had applied to, and it's instead a shabby, dingy little auto repair shop hidden out of the way on 3rd Street. We also follow Chigawa, a hack serial writer living paycheck to paycheck, writing boys' adventure tales, but striving to write something a little bit more meaningful. Chigawa finds himself smitten with an alluring sake bar hostess called Hiromi and is somehow persuaded by her to adopt a little orphan boy named Junsuke, who, as it turns out, is an aspiring writer himself and a big fan of boys' adventure tales. Alongside a cast of supporting characters, we spectate as everyone's lives change and cross over through the shifting of Japan and the building of Tokyo Tower. There are highs, there are lows, but one thing is constant, that it's always sunset on 3rd Street. I mean, I don't know if the always fits there, but I mean, in all 3 of these movies, there's a sunset scene. It's always sunset. And the one you can always rely on the sunset scene.
It'll always be there for you.
Always doesn't make sense. What is that alluding to? That the street's always there? That people are always there?
That's why it's not called Always in the manga series. I don't know.
3 movies.
It's so weird hearing that because I feel like the characters go through so much growth and so much change.
We spent a lot of time with them, like you said. Like 7 hours?
I mean, yeah, all about 7 hours. That's almost longer than an entire TV series with some of these guys.
Nowadays, yeah. And yeah, the first one is just Always Sunset on 3rd Street. Came out 2005. Then Always Sunset on 3rd Street 2 in 2007. Then Always Sunset on 3rd Street, not 3, but 64, which came out in 2012.
That's when they founded Nintendo.
Is it?
And then Nintendo 64. Get Jinsuke playing some Super Mario.
No, there's no Nintendo in this. But it is when I think Tokyo had their Olympic Games. Yeah. So 1964 is a big year.
This is when the Color TV came out.
The release of the Color TV. And I don't really know how we should talk about this, Mike, because 3 movies. Should we just talk about them all in general, or do you want to do them one by one?
Yeah, I feel like they've all blurred together. How do we do it? How do you want to do it?
I guess we can just talk about them all together. Maybe character by character as they change as well. something I really liked about this, like you were talking about earlier, and I didn't really expect it, is to just have this core cast of characters. We have pretty much the Suzuki family, and then Chigawa and his family, the sparring writer. And then we have a lot of supporting characters, from Granny, this old lady who just starts down the street selling tobacco.
There's the Iceman.
There's the Iceman. There's the mailman. There's the doctor. The devil doctor. Shows up to give people vaccines. And we really just like jump years with them as every movie just focuses in on their lives changing. And it's the small moments as well as the big moments.
A couple other main characters join the cast for a little bit. But like you said, it's mostly those two families. Let's start off with the Suzuki Auto Repair.
Suzuki Auto.
And actually, perfect person to start with is probably who we're introduced to at the start of the movie is Mutsuko, also known as
Roku. I don't know where that name came from.
Mutsuko means sixth child.
Oh.
And Roku just means six. It's a funny little nickname.
Because she shows up and she's from like a different province. She speaks differently to what they speak in Tokyo. She's got a different dialect. There's something she's saying early on when she shows up, and she's introducing herself, and she's saying, "Meeting's nice? Meeting's nice?" Like she's asking them if their meeting is nice, but it's because their dialects are different and they don't quite understand, which is interesting. I never really thought about that.
It's something that doesn't really translate across to us well, because we see the subtitles and immediately I was thinking like, oh, have they subtitled this wrong?
Yeah.
But they're doing their best to try and show how awkward some of her speaking is.
Regional dialects.
So
that is a fun nod. I never clicked that Roku probably means to them what her name means in that different dialect. Very clever. Yamazaki, very clever.
Oh, he knows what he's doing.
And already it really set the groundwork well, because it's a very fun. Again, I think these are comedies first and foremost, with some little bits of drama to pluck at your heartstrings with. But she shows up with her friends from her hometown. They go into the big city, and she is wanting to get a job at the biggest automobile factory in Tokyo.
As an office lady,
a cushy, nice paying desk job.
Second to the president, always helping him out.
And she rocks up to the airport. She meets this president who's not talking. He's very official. And she follows him, and there's like a nice limousine. And then someone else gets into that, and she sees the car that her president's driving. And it's now iconic. This dingy little three-wheeler.
What do you call those three-wheelers?
Three-wheeler ute? I don't know. But very quickly, she finds out it's not what she expected. And it's just a small-town mechanics shop, really. And there's a lot, in that first movie specifically, there's a lot of confusion because the Suzuki family thought that they were hiring an automobile mechanic, but she had put down on her resume that she was a bicycle mechanic or knew how to fix up bicycles. But she joins in the Suzuki family, and it's this nice little start to the found family dynamic for the rest of the movies.
Yeah, apart from her, I feel like the other three members of that family don't have a lot in terms of crazy characteristics or crazy main plots going on.
But Micah, they're the best characters of the movies.
They are the pinnacle of supporting characters. We've got Father Norifumi Suzuki, just Suzuki.
Suzuki.
It's so funny hearing you say that we're introduced to him as this like very straight, very serious businessman.
Because we are, but that breaks.
Goes out the window very quickly.
Because in the first movie, when he's first like working with her, he's very stern and very like cold.
Very stoic, yeah.
Very stoic. But he becomes my favorite character of all the movies. He won an award for starring in this. Same with the mum of the Suzuki family at the Japanese Academy Awards. But he is so funny, and he has a heart of gold, and he's playing this kind of over the top. All the movies are very anime-like. Her expressions are larger than life, and they almost gets into like magical realism especially with the Godzilla scene, which he is at the forefront of.
Honestly, Suzuki. Mostly it's whenever he's front and center, Suzuki.
A scene will be going normal, and then Suzuki's hair will go up all anime, and then he'll chuck someone out a window, and it will smash and turn 3D.
He's introduced to us as almost this Hulk-like character where as soon as he gets mad, he gets mad. His hair goes Super Saiyan, and he just starts punching people out of windows.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
As time goes on, he becomes this a little bit more, not dumb, but he's very much played as like brawn rather than brains a lot of the time, and he's very open about that.
But he's often the character crying and like getting emotional and reflecting on the past. And his character, I believe, is the one character we meet that actively talks about the war and like what that was like for him.
Yeah, over the series, especially in the third movie, he gets very reminiscent about and very emotional about the fact that seeing how this third street in Tokyo is now and how time has changed and progressed now. People have built a life and a civilization for themselves ever since it was all essentially flattened during the war. It hits very close to home for him. So really cool, like, father figure of a family to be introduced to.
And then the mum is just as good.
Tomoe.
She's like the backbone of the Suzuki family, making like the greatest little Ghibli styled meals for them every night.
The entire series, they're like, yeah, we don't have a lot of money, but we will hire this girl to help as a worker in this repair shop. And every single night we'll splurge on these meals. And we got to get the big three. Over the series, they buy the big three, which is, what was it? The washing machine.
Yeah.
The refrigerator.
The great three treasures, TV, refrigerator, and washing machine.
Which they don't have the money for. This entire family buys everything on lay-by, on Afterpay.
It's the Afterpay family. Yeah. The food throughout the series, Micah, the sukiyaki scenes. When they've got all the food, they're dipping it in. There's a scene later on when Mutsuko has like a nice little salted rice ball she leaves next to her bed when she goes to sleep.
I was watching that movie late at night and I hadn't made dinner for myself yet. And if a piece of food and movie has ever made me run up to make some rice,
salted rice ball,
that was
it. Just looked like a ball of rice, but I was salivating.
It reminds me a lot of...
You make it up and just leave it on your bedside table ready for the morning.
It's the live action equivalent of the mouse in the Aristocats making the little cracker dipped in milk.
Oh yeah, that. I remember that thing, man. Oh, there's also
what is it? Creme de la
creme.
He says his name there somewhat. Creme de la Rupert, whatever it is.
What's his name? Thomas O'Malley cat. We need to get to the bottom of this. Creme de la creme O'Malley. O'Malley creme de la creme. Aristocats. Underrated Disney movie.
Creme de la creme a la Edgar is the little mouse.
Oh, that's right. It's the mouse that makes it. That makes it.
People have made this online. That's great. But that rice ball,
does it better than the creme de la creme de Edgar?
Maybe.
The cream puffs. The cream puffs that show up a few times in the series whenever it's a fancy occasion and they forget about it, and then.
There's a whole plot line of them buying cream puffs are getting spoiled because they haven't got an ice block in their refrigerator.
Yeah.
And then Mutsuko ends up having to go to the doctors
because she ate spoiled cream puffs. It's just amazing. Again, and for the groundwork, for everyone else listening who probably have never seen this, it's unfortunately just not available. It's not easy to track down. They haven't done proper like English releases for this. And it's super unfortunate because I might just show all my cards here at the top, Micah.
Podzilla's ending anyway.
See, into Podzilla. I might as well show my cards. This was like all my favorite parts of Godzilla -1, but just doubled down upon. Like the family dynamic in Godzilla -1, the human stuff, which I feel like more than any other Godzilla movie, that's just what nailed it the most.
Absolutely. A lot of people, the reason they loved -1 so much is that you take Godzilla out of it and it is still a really heartfelt and a really solid story about these human characters. These movies are essentially that aspect of -1, but expanded upon three times over.
Expanded upon, and so much more of that. And I can just completely see why they chose Takashi Yamazaki to make -1 and what his why that turned out the way it was, because these are just such a great look at his filmmaking style and the themes he loves to play with. And everything that's explored in -1 are explored here in some kind of level. I just loved it. And it's just so cozy and pleasant.
Yeah, you were saying it feels very much like a Studio Ghibli live action movie.
It's like a live action Studio Ghibli film at times. Yeah, I just love it. All the family dynamics, all different matchup between all these characters, especially the Suzuki family. And you've got a lot of highs with them, all getting their TV and laughing and loving life together and sharing meals. And then you get one of my favorite scenes, I think it's in the second movie, when Suzuki, this dad who's so stoic and all brawl and no brains, he's kind of the dumb dude for most of it. He goes to a reunion with his war mates, or the guys that were in his battalion, and he comes home with one of them and he's sharing a meal and they're recounting about the war and the brotherhood they had together and his friendship with this guy. And then you realize, and it's revealed, that he actually brought no one home with him, and that guy he was spending that time with had died. And just these little...
If we could expand on that a little bit more, because there's this like big section of the second movie devoted to that, of him really being scared to go to a reunion because he doesn't want to find out who of his platoon has died since he last saw them in the war. And he ends up going home and drinking some sake with that friend who isn't getting drunk. We should have been tipped off that we should have. But he gives him some really good advice. He's so torn up about the fact that he's feeling guilty whenever he experiences joy and happiness now, because, you know, all of his friends who died in the war are never going to feel those feelings. And this dead ghost of a soldier is essentially having a heart-to-heart with him and saying, hey, you need to experience enough joy to make up for the happiness that we could never feel after our deaths.
Be as happy as possible for those who didn't survive.
And that's just like... I think what I really love about a lot of these movies, and I'm not too sure about these three movies, I'm not too sure how it relates to the actual manga being an anthology.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can get a movie that has a lot of overarching themes and plot points, like this in the second movie, there's a lot going on with the author character who we'll get to, and like a second cousin coming in and staying with the family. But for a random side character, you get this really heartfelt and really memorable section that doesn't feel like it's taking away much of the focus from the rest of the film. And yet it still feels like an entirely like solid and really just great piece of script writing and filmmaking by itself in the midst of a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah. And they do that the whole way through, and it's not even just with the core cast or the core characters. Like I was saying, in the first movie, there's so much going on. They're setting up these dynamics, but there's a character, this doctor in the town, the devil doctor. Everyone hates. He gives all the kids vaccines. They're all super scared of him. And there's just like a small little moment somewhere in that movie where he goes home, he brings home some food for his wife and his daughter, and they sit down and enjoy a meal together. And then again, it just cuts to him like drunk on the side of the road. His food's everywhere, and he actually doesn't have a wife, doesn't have a daughter, they died. And it's just like this, again, comedy, real highs, some really funny bits, some cool dramatic like storytelling things. But then it makes time to give everyone this real set, like it. I don't know how to explain it, but it tiptoes like between sadness and fun, comedy, happiness the whole way through, and just fleshes out all these characters so much.
Yeah, by the end of it, you feel like you know pretty intimately everybody living on 3rd Street.
I think that's why it felt like a Ghibli movie to me, because I think one of the things those movies do real well is you remember the like fun, colorful moments and the adventure of it all, but then they always seem to have some kind of like sad little undertone, or they leave you with something to think about. And this was just doing it every 10 minutes with different characters, different places. But shall we talk about your favorite character? Chigawa, the writer.
You don't want to finish off the Suzuki family?
I mean, we can. You don't want to talk about Chigawa?
That makes sense to talk about Ippei.
Ippei!
Let's talk about Ippei for just a second.
The little boy of the family.
Does he have much plot-wise going on for him in the first 2 movies?
Well, he's kind of the bully in the first film towards the other little orphan
classic,
kid.
like 7-year-old rascal.
The Wikipedia describes him as impish, the impish Ippei, which
Really?
I can kind of see.
Sure, yeah. He's got a little bowl cut. He actually kind of sets the first movie in motion. The intro sequence is him winding up a toy plane and then setting it off flying over 3rd Street and over Tokyo.
A little CG plane. I see you, Yamazaki. I see you flexing your VFX skills.
Him,
3rd Street.
Him and Miyazaki are both plane heads through and through.
Yeah, a lot of planes in this. A lot of planes.
But a lot of the time, he's just messing around with the other characters. Is there anything crazy going on in the first movie for him?
He is a bully at the start, but then he ends up befriending Junsuke, the other like orphan boy, and it's their friendship in the first movie.
And I guess it's him getting on with Roku Mutsuko as well.
Yeah. The family bonding together. And the second one is him getting along with his cousin, who they're butting heads with, but then promise to marry one another by the end of the movie.
He's probably the character who has the least going on plot-wise a lot of the time. At least in the first 2 movies, he does feel like the heart of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is great.
He's always the guy to come in with a good pun or a good joke as well, little kid. And I mean, I think it's through him that we first meet Chigawa, the writer, as well, because Chigawa, on the outside, it looks like he has this little general store or like a $2 shop, convenience store, sells toys, sells candy, and he's selling Ippei and some of Ippei's friends.
He's selling Ippei?
He's selling them some little like gambling pieces of paper where you see if you've won or not. And they keep buying these pieces of paper to see if they get good luck. And every single one says, no luck, no luck, no luck. And then once the kids go away, it's revealed that Chigawa is actually writing no luck and he's making these himself. And every single one says no luck. Because that kind of shows us where he's at with his life.
Yeah, very much so.
Depressed, hopeless, wanting to make everyone else feel terrible.
I cannot stress enough how instantly you get a feel for how... just down in the dumps and hopeless this guy is. Not just in the way that he's hunched over and walking all the time, just dragging his feet.
The hair?
He has a high-pitched voice, but the hair?
The disheveled... I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like a bush. It's like a shrubbery.
I'm looking up pictures online and none of them do it justice. It feels like he's a little chia plant, and someone's just let his... It's like an afro, but it's like a part as well, and it's straight.
It's very anime, like having hair like that. But he's definitely wearing a wig. It just looks so strange.
It's so funny.
I have something to admit.
Yeah,
he's the main character of these movies, I would say.
Yeah.
Keeps coming back to him, down on his luck, trying to write something, failing at writing something. Big part of his backstory is he was once a finalist for a writing prize. And then it turns out he wasn't actually a finalist and everyone becomes a finalist. And the big focus of the second movie is him actually becoming a finalist, but then he doesn't quite get there in the end.
Yeah, wanting to win this actual real prestigious award.
I'm of 2 minds of Chigawa because
look, we're gonna come back to him.
I might be the biggest Chigawa hater. This guy, his shabby clothes, his messy hair, his socks and sandals, just slapping them down the street.
Drunk almost 24/7.
Drunk, hunched over.
Punching his family.
He adopts this kid and just slaps him and punches him and throws him around the place. Breaks. The Suzuki family get a new TV. Do you remember this in the first movie?
That's right.
And they've got like they're having a whole street over to watch like a wrestling match or karate chop or something's having on the TV. And there's this great sequence again when it goes like magical realism with it all, and it shows that they're not just watching TV, it's like they're there, and it cuts into them watching the match.
Entire street together.
And then the signal goes out for a little bit, and old Chigawa steps up, moves forward to try and fix it. He hits the aerials off. He breaks it. He takes the whole TV apart.
He takes the knob off and then says, well, I've broken this. Let me put it back together, and fully dismantles the entire TV. And you know what? It was an outlet issue to begin with.
Outlet issue. I hate this guy. But there are little moments where I love him as a character. Like, I love the characterization of him.
I
don't know. Every time he shows up, I'm feeling rage in myself.
Where I ended up falling with him, and I feel like there's equivalent characters to him in a lot of different media, He's got a very Usopp-ish nature from One Piece.
Okay, I can see that. I can see
But I feel like he starts off down in the dumps, and at least in the first and second movies, he is also the heart of the movie because by the end of it, he has some sense put into him, and he's really heartwarming and heartfelt, and he makes these grand gestures of like, finally, after the entire movie, doing the right thing and making the right decisions. And standing up for what he believes in. Yeah. Which is great for the first two movies. We will talk about the third movie shortly.
Because again, even though I hate him with everything within me, and it just feels like they don't make good character decisions. He's not a satisfying character to watch. But some of my favorite moments of these movies are with him. Like, for example, Hiromi. Who we're introduced to as the sake bar like owner and hostess. And all the guys on Third Street are coming around, hanging out at her sake bar, getting wasted.
Absolutely dunking on Ryunosuke.
Yeah, every chance they get.
Down in the dumps rider. He's not doing anything
They make fun of the rider. And then it turns out she has to look after one of her friend's sons. So Junsuke, this abandoned little orphan boy, comes to live with her. And she eventually pushes him to go and live with the writer. I really love her as a character. She is like the heart of the series almost. And my favorite part of the first movie is slowly, very, very slowly, Chigawa ends up caring for Junosuke. They bond over their love of writing, and Junosuke is a fan of Chigawa's works. And she ends up like coming around every once in a while to make them curry and rice, which again looked incredible. And then she slowly gets closer with Chigawa. And by the end of the movie, there's this really sweet moment where Chigawa has got no money, he's got no book deals, he's failing as a writer, but he really loves Hiromi. And she's really come to care for him. And then he proposes to her, but he doesn't have a ring, only enough money to buy the case of the ring. And it's just a great visual, a great moment that keeps, throughout the first two movies, it keeps popping up, but she accepts and she puts on this invisible, non-existent ring. And she always just smiles and she looks at her hand, knowing that she'll be with him and they'll be okay together as their little family.
I cried a little bit in the first and second movies. That was one of the moments.
It's great.
Look, every time I cried, it had to do with Chigawa. I will say it.
Exactly.
It's the heart of the movie for me.
It's strange.
What's great about Hiromi's character is I feel like she's introduced in this moment as it seems like she's trying to pawn off this kid to Chigawa.
Yeah.
And the slow realization on her end. Because what is everybody else in the bar is kind of jokingly hyping him up and saying how great he is, and she goes along with handing her kid over to him, and she slowly realizes that he isn't as great as he makes himself out to be. Everybody else doesn't like him. And I feel like there's a version of this type of character where she just doesn't care about the child at all. She's gotten rid of the kid, doesn't need to care about him. But we actually see her genuinely not even worried, but wants to support this guy who has nothing going for him, but is trying to do the right thing. And I think it's through her that we see how great he can become a lot of the time, Chigawa.
Yeah, you're right.
She brings out the best in him, at least in the first two movies. And yeah, it all culminating in that final moment where he's got these far off dreams, but she is the one person who actually believes in him in the entire town. And slowly that changes over the movie. In the second movie, he's got his big writing award that he's going for. And the entire town starts to believe in him.
What's a sad ending to the first movie, because it actually ends with Hiromi leaving and selling her store, or she doesn't have enough money to keep it running.
She's got a lot of debts that she didn't speak to anybody about.
Yeah. So she goes to like work at like a strippers, a brothel,
a nude dancing strip,
dancing place, and she's like doesn't have any money. She has heaps of debts. Like she has to go back to that place and start working there. And it's like she feels herself lesser than him at some point.
Yeah, they're both thinking of themselves as the lesser person. She doesn't think herself worthy enough to be with this prestigious writer. and he doesn't think that he's worthy. He thinks he's the bottom of the barrel piece of
I'd
crap in the dumpster.
I'd agree with. He is. He's lower than that. But there's moments of her like in that nude joint, and she's looking up at her hand like while she's getting ready for a show. And it's just stuff like that made me really, I don't know, made me really warm inside.
He's writing this big piece for a writing prize that he's going for.
I loved that plot in the second movie.
It's a great plot, with everybody in the street finally coming together to support him.
Suzuki, my favorite character, the dad, Suzuki, like hating on him, calling him Mr. Literature for all these movies, hating on his writing, saying he's a deadbeat, he should get a proper job, actually revealing that he loves his writing and he's bought his book.
Multiple times Shigawa goes up to him and says, "Are you going to read my piece of fiction?" And every time he's like, "No, you need to start writing more.
Write something about samurai
or some action." Which just speaks to the dad's character more because he ends up being really, all for his writing in the end.
Yeah.
But we find out that the piece he writes is about the dancer. It's about her, and it's the one piece of fiction that he's created that he has really deep ties to. It's great. They've got a great relationship, those two, for the first and second movies.
The third movie, which we watched together just before recording now, it was interesting to watch because it came out, it was the most amount of time that it passed. I think 5 years between this the third one and the second one. So all the kid characters have grown up.
Yeah, apart from it's not too noticeable except for Ippei.
I'd say Junsuke
and Jutsuke.
Yeah, and I think they've grown into some pretty good actors, especially Junsuke. I really liked him in that third movie. This little orphan boy who turns out he's a pretty good writer. That's another thing Shigawa does in the first movie. He finds out that the orphan's a good writer and then steals his writing.
Oh, I forgot about that.
To sell off his sci-fi story.
It's kind of played off as a joke because the boy is really thankful for it.
Yeah, it's played off as like a nice thing that his adopted dad stole his writing. But really, that's like one of the worst. There shouldn't be more repercussions for that.
It's great though. It gets to a point where Junsuke, the orphan boy, ends up having this real cool connection with his adopted dad where he almost acts as the person who supports his dad. Throughout his entire life, because the dad really is down in the dumps making terrible decisions.
The third movie was a bit different because I feel like it wasn't so much you're following everyone on this whole street and watching their lives overlap and watching little matchups. It was more so two stories. It was following Mutsuko, the girl who moved there to become a mechanic, finding love and getting married, and the Suzuki family having to come to terms with that.
Their own daughter, who isn't their daughter.
Their kind of adopted daughter.
Their Tokyo parents.
Moving away, as their Tokyo parents. But then also it focused a lot on Shigawa, who has a job as a writer, but there's someone else who's writing stories better than his and who's edging him out of not being... He can't write anymore because there's a manga called Virus.
The
Virus that's so much more popular than whatever Chigawa's writing. And he loses his job because of the virus. And then he finds out his son...
He loses his job because of the
virus.
We've all been there.
Because of the virus. But then he finds out that it's his son, Junsuke, who's creating the virus. And I didn't like the third movie quite as much.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot built up with these characters. It's a big part of the second? Maybe first and second, but definitely the second movie where Junsuke's actual dad, who hasn't seen him in like 10 years, the entirety of his life, finally comes around and tries to claim parentage to him and bring him back to their place. And we're seeing, and it's a really cool part of the movie, Shigawa time and time again trying to prove to himself and to Junsuke's dad that he is fit to be his parent, that he can support him and look after him, and that the child does want to be here. And we see him fighting so hard. It's the entire reason that he goes to try and win this literary award in the second movie, is he makes a promise with Junsuke's dad that if he does something that can prove that he has a future, then Junsuke can stay with him. And even though he doesn't win the award in the end, the Junsuke's father actually sees how much he cares for his child and that maybe he doesn't need money and
just happiness,
education. Maybe there's something else.
Family.
Maybe there's happiness.
Love.
Family, which is great. It shows you how much Shigawa is ready to fight for this kid. And it ends up being a big stain almost on the entire series is how it ends, as we see that mentality completely flipped around in the third movie.
Yeah, and I love the themes this trilogy plays with. It is like a lower economic class group of people who are trying to make ends meet. Chigawa has no money at all. The Suzuki family are kind of like, they haven't got enough to go buy. They're having to buy things on lay-by.
Everything they buy is on lay-by.
But it's like these people struggling in post-war Japan as the city's changing around them. And I love how we see Tokyo Tower getting built and industry moving, and they're kind of just always there when things are changing around them.
It's almost like none of them can really set themselves up much for the future, so it's all for the here and now.
Always. They're always there.
They're trapped in the time loop. It's always sunset on 3rd Street.
But the lives are changing around them, and there are bits in the first couple movies that I really loved. Like we see an iceman, a guy whose job is to sell blocks of ice for people to put into their pantries to keep their food cool. And we see when the Suzuki family upgrade to a fridge, and they no longer need ice delivered. We see the Iceman outside looking like really sad as like his life's moving on. His job isn't needed anymore. And I do love how it reflects like that period of Japan and how time moves and how things change. Change is a big focus for the whole thing. But, and I don't know, the third movie is where it loses me a little bit because it feels like it's trying to play with, throughout that movie, like expectations of the time and like the change of culture, because there's a lot with Mutsuko who wants to get married and she is working as a mechanic, and there's a lot of like talking about like her role in society, like she shouldn't be doing this or she should be doing something differently, and it's like people are making choices for her. There's a little bit of that at play. But then with the Chigawa side of things, there's this really interesting like generational abuse almost plot line, or like I guess the standards you put on your kids and family, because you find out Chigawa's dad wanted him to go to university and wanted to get a high paying, good, respectable job. Like I feel like a lot of people in that culture at that time wanted. But Chigawa wanted to be a writer. He didn't want to go to university. He loved writing too much, and he's going to be a writer with his life. And then his dad disowned him.
Yeah, this is an interesting...
And didn't talk to him because he wanted to be a writer and he didn't want to set up a good life for himself. And then we find out in the movie, when he goes home, he learns, and when his dad passes away, we learn that even though his dad disowned him, his dad was his biggest fan and loved his writing and like annotated all his books and wrote little notes about his favorite stories his son had written, but he never said it to his face. And the dad's excuse was like, that's the role he had to take, was he had to push him away and let him do his own thing for the good of him and his family.
And that's how he's going to stay strong in what he does.
That's how he's going to love his son. And the same thing happens in this, because Chigawa has these societal kind of expectations he places upon Junsuke that, hey, you need to go to university. You're smarter than the Suzuki family. You're smarter than everyone here. Go get a good job. Don't be like me. And then we find that Junsuke loves writing and wants to be a writer and loves writing too much to go to university.
They end up having a huge argument about it in front of a few other characters, but Junsuke is really... He's a good kid, and he is really set on the fact that even though he might not have enough to go by, he doesn't need to have a lot in his life if he's happy, and he's going to be happy with his writing. He's going to be happy with his family.
And even though he knows how miserable Chigawa is, he loves Chigawa, and he loves Hiromi, and he loves the little life they've made. But Chigawa, the whole like the third movie is so strange because it ends with him pushing away Junsuke and being like, hey, get out of this house, get out of this family, do your own thing if you're going to be a writer. And it's almost seen as like a positive in the story. Like he thinks he's making a good decision pushing his son away because he doesn't want to go to be in a university and he wants to do a lower income and he wants to be in the arts. And it's just very strange because for the rest of the movies, it feels like it's found family and we're all looking out for one another and we all love each other regardless. And even though a lot of us are miserable day to day, and even though a lot of us are struggling, like happiness is what we make together, or true happiness, like will get us, or true love, family will get us through anything.
Yeah.
And it seems like it was setting up for him to break what his dad did to him and Shigawa to finally be like, hey, it doesn't matter. Let's support each other and we're going to make it work. But he just pushes his son away and it ends.
It looks like that's where it's going to... Because it makes sense narrative-wise that after all that his dad did in disowning him and being so proud of his son but not telling it to his face, it feels like Shigawa's going to break that cycle of...
Yeah.
You could call it generational trauma, truly.
Abuse almost.
Yeah. And it feels like the natural... They have this huge argument and then you see some emotion on his face and you feel like there's going to finally be that moment of catharsis where, you know what, he's going to do the right thing. And he doesn't. And they get a short... I think Junsuke ends up going off in a taxi with the publisher to live his new life. But he realizes that he has forgotten his fountain pen, which was a big part of the first movie. As a big present that... and he was so good. Shigawa got the doctor to dress up as Santa to deliver him a fountain pen. He does care about him. And he forgot his fountain pen, so he runs back to the house. And you see that Shigawa also realizes that he hasn't given him the fountain pen. And again, you feel like it's going to be at this moment of he realizes he's done wrong.
Don't push your son away.
Yep. He runs to meet his son and the son runs to meet him and they meet each other in the middle of the street and you think that he's going to accept him back into the house again and support him. And it just doubles down on it. He gives him the fountain pen and says, hey, I don't like what you're doing, but this pen is going to be your saving grace. Don't come back to my house. I'm still going to write and I'm going to be your biggest enemy. And that's how you're going to grow. But you can't do it here. You need to go and live your own life. Go away.
I love the credits of the third movie when you see all the families happily together looking up at the sunset and then Junsuke is by himself really standing in the street.
And I think their final moment hurts more because Junsuke is standing there as the camera pans back as Shigawa's walking. And Junsuke is just shouting like, I'm going to live every day of my life trying to be as good as you were of a writer. Thank you for all you've done. And it's really sweet on his end. But then Shigawa is just walking forward, back turned to his kid.
And it just confounds me because it's probably what it was like a lot back then is even though people loved their kids, they were harsh on them. And they loved them and cared about them, but were very harsh on them because they wanted them to be better than the lives they were living. And it's probably a lot of things that like Takashi Yamazaki grew up maybe like that, or people he knew grew up like that. So it's probably something he was wanting to delve into. But it just comes off as so unsatisfying, and tearing apart the family you'd built three movies to make feel so nice and cohesive.
It's the first time in a long time, and the first time that I can definitely point to where it feels like the scriptwriters and the filmmakers made a choice that they thought that everybody else was going to support and really accept. It feels like they show this series of events on screen and they expect the audience to be like, oh, what a great ending. He did the right thing there. You know, his dad was harsh on him, but it's what he needed. And now he's doing the same thing. How was great. And I feel like I haven't seen before that it feels like a disconnect from the writing team and the audience in terms of they expected the audience to really, really like this decision, but they didn't. The closest thing I could point to, and this is going to be a bit niche, is like the Spider-Man comics. Have you heard everything that's coming out in the past year about, I think his name is Paul?
Yeah, there's a character called Paul that like Mary Jane gets with and everyone hates him.
The writers made it so that Peter Parker ended up breaking up with Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Mary Jane got this new guy called Paul who's a douche. They write the story so that she has like several kids with him. He becomes a superhero. It's just like a wild series of events that the entire community has been very vocally outspoken about. Yeah. And it just seems like it's a wrong decision that no one, even the writers of the comics themselves, can really justify. And I feel that same sense of like...
I can see what you mean, yeah.
It's almost like whoever made this decision for Shigawa to end up doing what he did, it's almost like they were too stubborn to change it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm really, really curious to what it's like to have been a fly on the wall for those conversations.
And I think like unanimously a lot of people don't like this as much as the other two. The third one, especially Shigawa's part of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm back to being a Shigawa hater, certified after this third movie. Dude is even worse off than he started. Yeah, he's got a kid. Yeah, he's got a wife, but he's learnt nothing, and he's pushed away the person who was like closest to him throughout it all.
Like, as sucky as it is to say, this is probably a series that I'd recommend stopping watching after the second movie.
Me too, because the third movie has a lot of nice moments. And it brings back that nice, quaint, lovely always sunset feel. And it's a reunion for the most part. A lot of fun stuff happening, but then it just completely butchers up. It's not satisfying.
No.
It's not a satisfying ending. And that's why I wonder, was he trying to make it unsatisfying and make it closer to what family dynamics would have been like at the time, as opposed to the happy ending we all wanted?
Because especially the entire trilogy is kind of seen by a lot of people in Japan as the series that really celebrates and brings back the feeling of Showa Japan.
Yeah.
And like poetically almost, it would make sense that you wouldn't change a story to have more of a post-Showa feel, if that's what the Showa era would have been like for a lot of families.
And I would have been more forgiving if there was a fourth movie of like him going head to head with his son, and then like both being writers.
Give me a spin-off of both of them trying to write their
Give me a new movie.
Sci-fi story.
I don't want Godzilla -0. I want Always Sunset on 3rd Street 4 right now, please, because I need some characters to be redeemed. Should we talk about Godzilla?
Let's talk about God. I will so quickly, just a little bit of trivia and context for the whole thing. So when they were making the third movie, the Sunset on 3rd Street manga series creator, Ryohei Saigan, gave his blessings to each of the 3 films, and he ended up working with the writing team on creating some stories for these characters that he had initially written about in the manga. So for the first 2 movies, and I assume for the third one, the actual author of the Sunset on 3rd Street manga had a good bit of say over what he wanted to happen to these characters. And I was a bit confused because I feel like the first 2 movies have more of a anthology slice of life feel to them that you don't get in the third movie, where it's constantly flipping between these small moments and small stories that happen between these characters. And the third movie feels like it's more so, I don't know, a regular movie that's got a couple plots that are going on at the same time, but it's not jumping between a lot of small interactions.
Real unique
characters.
feel for those first 2, where you'd be following something happen in the Suzuki household, and then a character would come into the scene, and then you'd follow the character into another household, and you'd see what's happening there. Like, it's interconnected lives.
Yes.
Whereas this was just 2 separate stories.
Yeah, like what's a good example? Like the Doctor's probably a good point, where all these characters have stuff going on. In the second movie, he's not in it a lot, but he has this little side story going on where he's trying to find raccoons, because that's what made him, in his mind, have that flashback to his wife and his child. He's trying to find raccoons, finds a dog, ends up vaccinating a lot of dogs. That's really all his story is for this.
But there's some cute stuff with the kids like finding the dog and finding him and then realizing, hey, he's not a devil. He's looking after these dogs.
Yeah. And that very much feels like a small little issue that you could read about in this anthology, Sunset on 3rd Street manga series.
Yeah.
And that feeling doesn't come across in the third movie at all. And
he just pops into a scene once or twice in the background and he's gone.
I don't know, man. And the series is still ongoing. I think they released this 72nd, I think it's issue last year. It's usually just a couple each year. But knowing that the writer of the series gave his blessing for what happened to these characters, my theory is that most of these characters just show up like a handful of times across the entire anthology series.
Yeah, so very different to the manga.
Yep. And so like this author has probably had like 3 issues written about him and his character in the series. Like, you probably don't need to be thinking so far ahead as the actual author of this anthology series that you're caring about what happens to this down on his luck writer who you wrote 1 issue about.
7 years in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I love...
Well, could you get onto that, please, Micah? Could you get onto that? Start reading the manga series. Let us know what happens. Be our man on the ground. Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Yeah, we'll do.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's interesting.
Sorry, you were going to talk about the Big G.
I mean, Godzilla is in the second Always Sunset on 3rd Street movie.
The whole reason we watch these movies.
Yeah, and I'd always heard it was a dream sequence. It's a dream sequence he shows up for. It's not a dream sequence. It's actually more ingrained in the story because Chigawa is trying out different styles of writing, more sci-fi styled, more sci-fi styled, big ideas, not the lowly dramatic stuff he usually writes about.
Lowly dramatic.
And the movie starts with we see what he's writing, and he's writing a ripoff about Godzilla. And
dare I say, really good ripoff.
It's super fun because we see 3rd Street as the actual Godzilla music plays, as Godzilla shows up and starts destroying the street that we've spent all this time on. And then we see Suzuki, my man from Suzuki Odo, start getting angry at Godzilla, and his hair goes up like it does throughout the show a bit. And he's just yelling at Godzilla.
He sees like the demolished sign of his Suzuki Auto repair shop in the ground.
Yeah. Godzilla destroyed Suzuki Auto, Tokyo Tower that we just saw built up. I loved it. I loved it. Godzilla is looking a bit worse for wear. What do you think of this Godzilla always sunset design, Micah?
I remember looking back after or before -1 and thinking, man, this design looks epic. And seeing it again now, it's worse quality than I remember in terms of CG. Still looks all right.
I'm not a fan of those bulging eyes. He's got some funky little eyes going on.
His head does some weird movements.
Yeah, the CG isn't all there. But it's Godzilla destroying 3rd Street.
That's what we all wanted.
Which is pretty crazy. And there are a few, I think, Godzilla references throughout, especially that second movie. Ippei's big goal for the second movie is to go up to Tokyo Tower, and he's really scared he's never going to get up there, and he wants to get up there before Godzilla can destroy it. He says once, which is pretty fun. So yeah, it was cool seeing him up, and it was cool seeing that in 2007, Takashi kicks off one of his movies with a Godzilla sequence, and then would end up creating Godzilla -1,
and having a solid enough design. And having a solid enough design almost a decade and a bit earlier, that it's the design that they use almost one-to-one for the -1 movie. It's a great little connective piece there.
Bit less janky, but yeah. Very cool.
We also get some she poses. I forget what she or Shay is from.
It was from I think a famous show at the time in Japan. That Godzilla, it was pretty much the dab, the 6-7 of the time, and Godzilla was doing it in Invasion of the Astro Monster, and the Suzuki mum does it in this. Some hooligans, some kids in the street come up to her and strike the she pose to her, and then she does it at home. So it would have been the equivalent of kids back in the. Kids who grew up in the 60s be pointing at their screen being 6-7, 6-7, but it's a she pose.
Honestly, very funny scene of the mum going back and asking her family and asking the husband have you heard of she?
She does it a few
She does the pose and he's do it again. She?
It's pretty good. I have heard of she, and I was pointing at my screen. I was laughing. Best part of the 3rd movie, the she poses. Shall we just go? I don't know, Micah. Shall I just go through my notes? I've got some little bits and pieces. Let me just have a look.
So much has happened.
So much has happened in these movies. They're such long movies.
I didn't take any notes, so I'm going to be going off you for a lot of this.
I mean, I just it seemed like they tried to recapture the style of the movies made back then. We see the original Toho scope intros to each of these. The music is so nostalgic. I love the soundtrack in this. There are a couple piano pieces that almost make me tear up now, having watched through these. The side swipe transitions, I really love them.
Can you please use these movies as an inspiration for your short film that you're going to do?
Hey, short film?
Actual feature film?
Mike, I'm making a movie before the end of the year. It's happening.
You keep saying this. It's nearly halfway through the year.
It's happening. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Feature film.
A movie. I'm making a movie. Yeah, I just love the style, and it's a lot of reverence for the films, the Showa era, trying to recapture a lot of that look and feel. It seems to genuinely be trying to say something about time and change, moving around you, and trying to keep up with it, which I really loved. It felt very Ghibli, like I'm saying. It just felt like Studio Ghibli live action for me. And then also, the Before trilogy, which I know you haven't seen, but Before Sun before sunrise, before sunset, and before midnight, when Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, I don't know, Julie Derpley, two actors who just walk around, and I think it's 10 years between each movie, and we catch up with what's happening in their lives. This felt a lot like that, especially when we cut between like a couple years before the first and second. Like we see what's happening in their lives, and we cut 5 years, and we see what's happening in their lives. I really love that. And the third Before Midnight's not that good. Same with this. The third Always movie, not that good.
That's all right. I feel like it's not so bad that it diminishes the entire series.
No, I don't think so either.
But yeah.
Granny, we haven't talked about a lot.
Or Granny in a varsity jacket.
Granny in that jacket. Granny
in the jacket.
Introducing Coca-Cola to 3rd Street.
Drink your soy sauce and die.
Drink your soy sauce and die.
That is how he introduces it, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we see like a sponsored Coca-Cola bench in the third movie that they're having a lot of emotional conversations on. Very, very funny. Yeah, I loved in that first movie, especially Chigawa and Hiromi and their little moments they have together. I think it's her that says, "Hey, sir, let's get together." And she's like joking when she's making him some food. And it's just the start of the relationship is kind of a joke that they're already working as a family. They're already looking after this boy. Why don't they just get together? And it's something both of them start to take a bit more seriously. Mm. It almost felt a lot like Gamera the Brave as well. Do you remember that? Gamera the Brave?
Yeah, I can feel that. I was thinking about that this morning just because of how similar some of the feelings
Again, it's just
themes were.
It makes itself feel like a lot of the same. There's just this, it feels like I've been to 1950s, 1960s Japan through some of the Gamera stuff and Godzilla stuff we've seen.
I'll do you one better. Do I dare say that it feels a lot like Damaging Canon?
It feels a lot like Damaging Canon. Yeah, it's very the style. I think they've recaptured it perfectly. Because again, it's this era that Ghibli goes back to a lot, and it feels very similar. Yeah, I mean, I've just got a lot of little comments, and I loved in the second movie, even though there's a lot going on in the background, the main focus is Chigawa writing this novel and trying to win a prize. And there's just a sequence at the very end when everyone on 3rd Street's around him. He thinks no one believes in him and no one's read his stuff, and then one by one they reveal that they've all read his book and his novel, and they actually care about him. And there's moments in that second one when Suzuki he puts $10,000 or 10,000 whatever currency it was on to try and gamble to get him to win the prize. He actually cares about Chigawa, and I love seeing those.
1,000 New Zealand dollars.
1,000 New Zealand dollars.
100,000 yen.
There we go. I loved seeing the dynamics change and the matchups that you never would expect, like different people. Everyone just gets matched up with one another, and we see little storylines or little plots with each of them.
Going off that feeling of Ghibli-ness, I feel like what a lot of the Ghibli movies do, and it's something I felt when watching through the old Totoro movies and even a lot of their ones like Porco Rosso, the less fantastical ones, is that feeling of just having this slice of life into these families who really embrace what's going on in their life. And we were kind of saying it about the entire 3rd Street. It's this group of people that they're not looking too far ahead in the future. They're just living life for the moment and what they can do now. I really loved the little storyline in the second movie of, is it Mika?
Yeah, Mika.
Mika is the second cousin, this little girl who comes to stay with the
Suzuki family. And she starts off as this very quiet, very high society, they've put some pork in their meal. It's supposed to be done with beef. Not pork.
And she's just very uppity to all of them. And over the course of the movie, she kind of adopts that way of thinking. It's a really cool series of scenes we get with her as she, Tomoe ends up telling her to do her part since she's one of the family now and just do some washing. And her slowly doing the washing and struggling with it and then enjoying doing it. And then when she's earned her free time, just going and doing some dishwashing with the mum in the end. And I just love that little aspect of it, seeing how someone from an outsider, almost like us, can start to come to terms with this way of living lives that may seem more unimportant.
Yeah.
But you're actually getting more out of it.
Oh, Tomo, the mum in the Suzuki family. She's incredible. Yeah, I completely agree. And it's just a lot of the little moments. Like, it just feels so pleasant to watch. Even, I think it's the credits of the second movie. I don't know if you sat through many of the credits, but
I said, the second one was amazing.
There were credits, and I think all the like boys of the cast are playing like spinning tops, almost Beyblades or something. And then the actor of Chigawa brings in his own one, and he starts playing with all the boys, and then he steals all their Beyblades and runs into his shop, and it's just very fun. Like, these are such fun movies to watch.
Yeah.
I was just smiling the whole time when I wasn't crying.
I think they're movies that really embrace that feeling of community.
Yes.
Which a lot of people don't have, but it's that whole thing of like, you don't need to be on the best terms with everybody around you. But when you live life together with people as closely as that, they just become home.
Yeah. And it's really realistic as well. Like, I know a lot of us are struggling, and a lot of us might be like looking at other people and thinking our lives could be better. But it's just that, like, coming to terms of, I don't know, just the situation you're in, and that's okay, and finding people and making family and finding happiness and whatever would bring that for you.
Like, this sounds like a joke, but I'm genuinely looking at the Suzuki family and being like, man, imagine how cool it would be just to be a repair person working in that shop for the rest of your day.
I would work as a mechanic at Suzuki Auto. I would work there.
I'd work there. And like the family is so great in these movies as well. The fact that you got Roku, who doesn't start out as a mechanic, slowly becomes one. But then also imagine like having this family who you're living with and who is cooking food for you every mealtime.
The Suzuki family is so good.
And all you have to do is work for their shop. Oh.
And I could put up with the dad throwing someone up the windows or or turning into a demon and breaking the aspect ratio of the film every once in a while. Some crazy stuff happened. Yeah.
Oh, Dej, can I say something?
Yeah.
I might throw out my entire wardrobe.
Okay.
All I need is a good set of pants, a belt, and the dirtiest, droopiest tank top with the lowest neckline you've ever seen.
Every lady on the street's looking great, but every man is just wearing the loosest, shabbiest white singlet that's sweat patches and dirt marks. And
doesn't matter if you're a kid, doesn't matter if you're an adult, everyone's wearing it. There's equality here on 3rd Street.
Yeah.
Except for the doctor. He's got his white coat.
Yeah, the doctor, upper class, high society.
High society doctor.
Mike, I mean, I think we've exhausted a lot of, we watched 3 movies. I think we got through a lot of it. How many sunsets would you like to see on 3rd Street 1, 3rd Street 2, and 3rd Street 64?
I actually should have thought about these earlier.
I've got mine.
Can I hear yours first?
I would love to see 5 sunsets out of 5 for Always Sunset on 3rd Street. I would love to see 5 sunsets out of 5 for Always Sunset on 3rd Street 2. And I'd like to see 3 out of 5 for Always Sunset on 3rd Street 64.
I might be sitting at the exact same. I'm trying to think back on which of the first 2 movies I like better. But then I think both reach really high highs.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of how Chigawa's character gets raised from where he is and becomes like a real competent human being and real heartfelt. And I think it helps that those first 2 movies feel very closely connected. The first ends off with Hiromi ending up leaving Chigawa. The second movie is about him getting her back. And there's a few pieces there which make those 2 movies feel really solid as a duology. The third one does feel really...
It feels like a reunion special.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like... it doesn't... Feels like Heroes Reborn.
Yeah, it's like a revival of the old thing.
It's like an X-Files revival.
Reunion special, new season, and the characters aren't really where you'd want them to go, but you still smile and you still enjoy it.
Oh, like the fact that Ippei in the 3rd movie, you try to figure out where he's going to go with his character. He's a little bit impish. He's playing guitar for a band for a couple scenes, and then he doesn't really do anything.
He's making jokes.
It's the 3rd movie does fumble a lot of the characters. Hiromi, who you said like was one of your favorite characters all throughout, and is one of the gentlest and wisest characters of the series.
She didn't even step in to give any words of wisdom in the 3rd movie. She was just always listening. Then she just goes and hugs Chigawa at the end, It's like, why don't you slap some sense into him? He's slapping your kid around.
Her whole thing is that she's pregnant in the third movie and has a child, but that doesn't feel...
No.
Like, that feels like a really minor plot point still.
Yeah, I don't know. I still enjoyed it. Like, I still liked the third movie. I still love the vibes that all three of these give off. I think Always Sunset on 3rd Street might be my favorite thing we've ever watched in 5 seasons of Podzilla.
Really?
Like, I'm just thinking it's definitely the greatest discovery we've had.
I think it's the most underrated.
Yeah.
Coming from Western people who didn't know about this movie.
It's my favorite discovery of the show. It's probably my favorite. The first series, my favorite thing we've ever watched on Podzilla. I think, I don't know. And it's got that little Godzilla connection. It's got everything you love from Godzilla -1, but it's just such a great story. It's so nice to watch. It's so creative and clever. The characters are so great, except for Chigawa.
Now, in the first movie, he's amazing.
I just love it. I could watch these forever.
His fountain pen?
I love Always Sunset on 3rd Street, and I would urge you, track them down. Watch them however you can. If you like Godzilla -1, if you like movies, if you like good stories.
They're the Ghibli movies that you've never seen.
There we go.
Even if the third one is a little bit Earwig adjacent.
Mic drop, yeah. Earwig and the Witch? Is that
I think so. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's great.
Man. Always Sunset on 3rd Street.
Always Sunset on 3rd Street, and always Sunset on Podzilla Season 5. For patrons, we're going to finish off talking about Godzilla Rulers of Earth, the comic series that we talked about half of the run last episode. We're going to finish off. We've read the last 3 volumes.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that. But for everyone else, we're going to be releasing a bonus episode just for patrons in a week, and then in a couple weeks, mailbag. So please send us in your thoughts. So please send us in your questions, anything you want to ask us. Watch Always Sunset on 3rd Street. Leave us a 10-minute voice message telling us how much you loved it.
I need to see that popping up on my Letterboxd. Friends have watched.
Please. We did a watch party for this in the Discord. Just me and one other person.
Really?
No one's showing up for these.
Who was the other person?
Obscure in the Discord. I see you.
Did they like it?
Yeah, we had a great time. We loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. But yeah, thanks for sticking around with us for over a year plus of constant Podzilla Season 5.
6 years of Podzilla because it's ending.
Yeah, the end of Podzilla.
We're sunsetting.
Sunset on Podzilla until next week.
Until next week.
And the week after that.
Look, I hear all of you clamoring in the Discord on all socials saying, Podzilla is ending. Oh no. They just sent a message and it sounds like they're finishing up Podzilla. It's true. But also, at the same time, we'll talk about the future in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
We're going to be releasing a Podzilla reunion.
The Podzilla reunion.
And we're just going to destroy all the good faith that you've put in this show.
Podzilla 64, we change our characters so deeply.
Micah quits nursing.
Whoa.
After.
Micah stops sleeping through movies. That's not where I want Micah's character to go. He can't actually read all Marvel comics and finish all Final Fantasy games.
Micah becomes competent. Jaisha comes back and he's actually finished all Stephen King.
Hey, that's going to happen.
Movies and books.
What are you saying? That's not on my
character. In a couple of months?
That's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Jaisha
actually makes a movie.
Jaisha does not do any more podcasts. Has actually made a YouTube channel and movies.
Jaisha just hasn't watched a movie or podcasted in 5 years.
Jaisha comes to the show. Jaisha, what have you done in the past few weeks? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing with my life.
Sleeping.
I've been working and I've been sleeping. Would people be up in arms?
Put a pin in there for next April Fools.
So it's into Podzilla. We'll see you next week and the week after that.
And then we're ending.
And then it's the end. That's the end. We promise. We promise?
Ooh.
Is it a promise?